All right, so we're gonna jump back in and we're gonna take a look in the system at the three areas that in the Trailhead Playground, when you're looking at the Trailhead Playground and you're doing the trail mix with the advanced administrator, look at all that mess back there. Oh, got my separate monitor to work, but oh boy, did it not look pretty yet. All right, so let me blur that out. Here we go. All right, so I guess like I'm all alone today because I was a knucklehead and whatever. So here we are. And we are going to go through live broadcasting as for everything else. So thank you guys for joining the channel. This session of classes right now is the Advanced Administrator class, and I'm doing live on my channel. And it won't stay up forever. So appreciate you watching it, liking it, sharing it. It will be available in the private members area later on, most likely. I don't know what will happen exactly. Look, what I'm really committed to is that we build an army of elite professionals that are that can serve the Salesforce ecosystem as highly qualified administrators. And what I'm committed to is that some of you guys are going to want to be freelancers, you're going to become consultants, and hopefully what we'll do is have you on board as part of sales and technology. And I'll announce right now, and whether you see it or not, or we just use this video for a clip or not, what we're looking for is for people to complete the ACE program. What is ACE? So when you get certified as an admin, you have to remember that you're just telling the world you're a D student with Salesforce. Yep. You're a D student. With one certification, you can get a job, you can have a career, you can make money. No one's saying you can't do that. But what you can demonstrate to the world is that if you have accreditations, certifications, and experience, you're an ace. It puts you in the Top Gun world of Salesforce consultants and experts. So I want you to be an ACE expert. And I'm doing this series because this will be one of 5 training programs that we put together so you can get your 5 cert minimum and you can become an ACE. Now I know it takes 3 to become an ACE in the Navy. I'm not sure what the Air Force does, but the Navy it's like 5, 3 kills, right? But I'm going with 5. Your 5 foundational certs are critical for your career at Salesforce. It sets you apart from every other person that's applying for a job. This is like the bachelor's degree of Salesforce. So while you're working on your certifications, if you have under 5 certs, and here are the 5 certifications that we're going to make sure that you get as part of this program. If you join me at Sales and Technology Consultants by developing and building the Super User Academy to elevate Salesforce users to super users. Here's the deal. You have to become a certified administrator to demonstrate you barely understand Salesforce. You're a D student. You want to get to be a C student, become a platform app builder, and get your Sales Cloud and your Service Cloud certification. That'll make you a good C student. Why do I say C? Because all of those 3 certs that I can tell you is they actually demonstrate the same thing. And platform app builder and admin in the curriculums that are out there for the certifications, they're really about the same kind of feature set. Admin's a little more user-centric with the security model. Platform app builder's a little more automation-centric, so you understand more about the database underneath. Really what the platform app builder is designed for is for developers coming into the Salesforce ecosystem to really understand how Salesforce works as a development tool. That's from the mouth of the instructor that developed the classes for Salesforce and therefore influence the certification. The admin class, the basic essentials admin, is to give you a foundation of understanding of Salesforce so that you really understand how the system works, how big it is, how complex it is, how enormous it is, how important it is, not to just jump in and start making changes and configurations, right? You don't want to do that as an admin, a basic admin. How do I know? Because I made that mistake. I was very overconfident. I made big mistakes, even teaching the class. the first year I did things with customers that didn't work that well. I didn't make good decisions. I didn't have the experience. So, so you understand that you demonstrate these student qualifications with each certification with Salesforce. But when you combine them and you stack them, then you're really stacking your knowledge and understanding. Now, all businesses require sales. I don't care what kind of business you're in. So having your Sales Cloud certification demonstrates that you really understand more about the components available and how to map the business requirements into those components as it relates to sales. And the same thing happens with service. Now, the fifth certification that we're working on right now is the Advanced Admin certification. And if you get all 5 of those certifications, that gives you a clear, decisive career advantage when you go to an interview, because you're demonstrating that, because the advanced administration is hard. I teach the Salesforce administrative class, and I've taught it for 5 years. And when I took that advanced admin, I failed it. What? Because I wasn't experienced. I was just training. So I'm going through this class to remind myself, because I'm taking that certification when I'm done teaching these classes in the live sessions, and also building it part of the training curriculum. And then if you're really serious about taking your career to the next level, join me at Sales and Technology Consultants, join my partnership, take the partner learning camp certifications, and work with me to support my customers. And, do it on the side, couple hours here, little projects there. Maybe you'll have time to work with somebody 5-10 hours a month, 5-10 hours a week, whatever it works out to be. We'll find something. As you get those first 4 certs, we'll put you to work with our customers. But what we'll do is, you'll have documented experience, certifications, and accreditations, and get those accreditations through the Partner Learning Camp. But if you work for a partner now, definitely start working the Partner Learning Camp, get those accreditations, and start demos, because it deepens the application of the knowledge that you have of Salesforce. And that's going to make you a better prospect. It's going to make you a better admin or developer, whatever it is. So those first 5. Now, I'm not getting into the development until after I get my 10 certs, which 10 is the graduate level. That really sets you apart from most certified administrators, right? When I first started my journey, I thought the 1 cert was all you needed, and it was end all be all. That was just thinking, and thinking's free. But I, as a trainer, I could tell you that, I had a trainer mindset, not a consultant mindset. Although I did a lot of business consulting as it relates to training. I'm going to put my uniform on. I'll put my little jersey on, so I'm a Trailhead instructor. And I'm gonna kill this headset because I don't think I really need it. Let's see if I got the headset. Yeah, there we go. All right. So having those foundation 5, help me come up with a name in the comments or something, put it in there. What do you think I should call them? The Fab 5, the foundational 5, the finish 5, like you will definitely go from a job in the ecosystem to the job you want in the ecosystem with those 5 certifications. And not only with that, but you should have your Ranger 2, 3X status by that point in time. So, get on board and make that happen for yourself, and you will have your career flourish. And that'll be a big bonus for you and your family. Let me do something real quick. If I got it, do I have it? Do I have it? Do I have it? Do I have the, nope. All right. So no worries. Here we go. So, all right. So let's see. Okay. All right. So where we're at now in our class. So when if you reach out to me, you'll get a copy of this document that we're working on, where we're documenting everything that is in each of these trailheads, And as we go through it, so give us an idea of what the timing was, how it worked out. But this is a overall exam guide for you. Again, to get that D score, that when you get a certification, you're a D student, right? All right. So I'm off script. So this is just live. We're working on it. So let's go through the next 3 sessions for security and in the security and access model, which is worth, it's good 12 questions. And we went through the pick list administration, enhanced transition security, which we don't think there'll be many questions in that, but watch the video recordings to find out. The session-based permission sets and security, again, that's pretty simple. I think we discovered a note in there that, yeah, you might not even see much of that. And the company-wide org settings, right? So now we're going to look at administering account teams. So if you remember from your basic admin training, the account teams and opportunity teams share the same role. When you customize, when you create the roles, and the role does not have anything to do with the access, right? The user or when adding the team decides the person's level of access. And remember that access, if I was to annotate it on the screen, well, let's see if we can go to my org for a second. And when we look at the org itself, am I in Salesforce there? Yep, I'm in Salesforce there. I don't need it twice. Let's go there. Let's go, right? So when you're adding an account team, see if I have it on the page right now. When you're adding a user to the account team as an account team member, do I have it activated yet? I don't know. Let's see. Not yet. So we don't have account teams activated yet, but we will. So let's actually go and do that. We're going to take it, and first and foremost, when we go through this reminder, we have to enable account teams first. So in the setup, there's only 3 places. There's only 3 teams in Salesforce. Remember, account, opportunity, and case. Account and opportunity teams relate to specific records with specific people, or individual records. You're adding individual people. And if you type in, pop, make those things go away. If we type in teams, to activate account teams, you click on search for team. Notice there's sales and service. You have your case team, your opportunity team, and your account team. The first thing I do is enable account teams. Once I enable account teams, it's going to add a related list to all account records. I just have to add it to the page layout. I'm adding that related list, all my page layouts. And of course, if you've been in my classes before, if you've seen these videos, you always want to override users' customized related lists. Why? Because if they know how to customize their related list, they can do whatever they want. If they don't, they should get it. But if they customize by accident, then they're just like the people who don't know how to customize it, and they'll never know. So always do it. It puts the users in control, which is what you want to do. You want to give people that. So remember, the team roles or a pick list value that demonstrate the responsibility or the accountability of the people you add to the team based on their role. It's really your internal lexicon, your internal lingo. What your company decided is what people do with an account. So, and it's your internal users that are going to be added to these particular roles, right? Contact roles in an account are something totally different. But these roles will also translate down to the opportunity. And in the opportunity, it might mean the same or something different, but it's your entire pick list. So if some are opportunity, some are account, fine. They're still, teams are really used for not only access, because access only matters in a private or hybrid model. That is, some things are read-only versus private. Even in a read-write open public model for your record access, it's still a good idea to use teams. If you have more than one person working, having some responsibility or accountability on that particular account, because they can then filter, users can filter records for the, and you can identify people who have that role on account. You can use it for reporting purposes, right? So it makes for clearer communication internally. So you've got your list of pick list values. You can add, move, and change. Once I've activated account teams, I can then have the opportunity to activate opportunity teams, which is for specifically just an individual opportunity, adding the related list to the page layouts. I don't think there'd ever be a support opportunity layout, but if there was, there we go. And click save. And so now when I go to my records and I refresh the page, I'm going to have that related list there. And I'm going to be able to add other members of my organization and provide them access. Now, remember, it matters. It matters for sharing access, and it matters for accountability and responsibility for those records. And so it doesn't, you can use teams whether or not you have a private or a public org, your OWD, which is your control of record access. Let's see what I have here. All right. Let's see what else is on Minister account teams. So customizing the account team roles. So when you, right, once you've activated it, now each user or the admin can add, as my, it should be the last one. There's my account team, right? I can add team members, which is I pick the user, I give them a role, whatever that is, and I decide, now this is all read write, right? Why? Because that's the default access in our org. I can't restrict access. I can only grant the same access as the OWD or greater access. That is, if I set the OWD to private, I can grant more permissions, but it doesn't matter. I could still use this in my sales and company operations. And the same thing's true for case teams and opportunity teams. Now, typically, you know, because you just want to give people an easy way to find the records that they're involved with. And so here's my related. Now I could actually go in my opportunity team and do the same thing. I can add team members. And if I don't have a default team, as an end user, I can set up my default team members in my settings. I can also set up my advanced user details as an individual. My admin or manager can do this too. And in my user record, once I activate teams, I've got my, where is mine? There's my default account team and my default opportunity team, right? So when I create a default account team or opportunity team, I'm doing the same thing as if I'm adding the records one at a time per record. But when I add people to a record, this is what they're talking about in the help guide. Let's see, account access, read write, team role, account manager. I have these two options here. Let me zoom in. So I have these two options, right? Automatically add this default team member, or every time I use, or every time I use this, I can automatically add that to any, I can add, well, I remember people I put on my team, I can automatically add those users to all of my accounts that I create or that I take ownership of. or they're transferred to me. And if, right, so from this point forward, it'll add members. If I also want to retroactively add these members to all my existing accounts, right, because they're going to be, you know, they're going to be my lead qualifier, then that'll update all existing records that I own. So you manage it that way. If I remove a user from my, if I remove a user from an account team, rather my default account team, sorry, let me go back to where I was. And now that I have my account team, I can then do the same thing. So on my account team, I want to edit Linda. I could change her role, her access. I can also remove her from one account, but as I navigate the default account teams, I could also remove her from all my accounts, or him or her, whoever it ends up to be. It takes a little while sometimes, right? So that's what maintaining the user account teams, right? So there's also a feature for mass reassigning account teams. So if I type in my teams again, I can mass reassign account teams or opportunity teams, right? So I can add an account team, remove or replace, both for opportunities and accounts. So make sure you go touch these things in the system when you are, you know, trying, when you're studying for this. And there's mine, right? Some other things about it. Whoop, maintain users. I can disable account teams. Again, depends on what edition you're in, what permission you have. So if you disable account teams and you've created, here's what you need to remember, right? When you disable, it's irreversible, which means it's not irreversible, but all of the users that have been assigned to accounts and account teams, all those records will be gone. You have to recreate them. So if you try to disable it and you have custom fields, custom buttons, links, page, all that stuff, if you have customized that relate to the account teams, you're gonna have to go remove those roles or whatever you've used, however you've used account teams, to take it out. It's not the kind of technical debt typically you want to do, but you would have to. And some considerations, right? This is part of your study. When you're customizing account teams, let's see. Review considerations related to custom fields, team member invasion and validation rule flow, Apex and trigger support. Okay. Custom fields and pick lists aren't visible in Salesforce Classic. Maximum custom fields. When editing team members, users see custom fields, even if you don't add the fields to the account team members multi-line page layout. Okay. Deleting custom fields. Lookups to team members not supported. You can't create a lookup from an object such as an account to an account team member. Okay, fair enough. Sorting in a related list. The account team related list is sorted by team member name. It can't be customized, even if you specify the sort order in the account team member page layout. Great. A user can sort the related list by any other column. When the page is refreshed, sorting reverts. Okay. So this is a structured feature of Salesforce. It's just saying, look, you can't make changes. If you set the OWD for context controlled by parent, users can't see or edit the contact access field. Okay, that's a good That's a good feature. I never knew that, but reading helps, right? Deleting team members, the deleted account team member record is not moved to the recycle bin, and it can't be undeleted unless the record was cascade deleted when deleting a related account. Yeah, those are great technical features to know, but they don't really apply. I'm an end user focused guy, so they don't really apply to end users in my experience, right? So validation rules, flows, and Apex triggers are applied when Lightning experience users add their default team to an account using the add action on the related list. However, they're not applied when the users select the personal settings option to add their default team to accounts automatically. Interesting. That if you're building automation around teams, that is very important feature. Very detailed as you're using customizations. I don't know the use case for that. I've never had to apply that. But, again, this certification is really designed for people who do. Validation rules, Apex triggers are bypassed when Salesforce Classic users add default account teams via any method. So again, we're losing feature capabilities in Classic. So what does Salesforce really want you to do? Stop using Classic, dude. When an account team member is removed during an account ownership change, Apex triggers are bypassed. That's good for you. That's developer notes, right? Overriding buttons with visual force. Don't support overriding behavior of standard buttons like edit, delete with visual. Okay, great. Account team fields. Let's see what the considerations are for that. Account team member data is stored in standard fields. A user's page layout determines which fields are visible, and a user's access to the account determines which fields are editable. So really, and that's really true for, all of it. So the fields are account, case, contact, opportunity, team member, team role. These are all the standard fields, and the level of access, what is controlled. Things to know about accounts. Nope, don't need to know that. That's outside the scope. So questions, put them in the chat, comments. Remember to subscribe, like, and share. Tell your friends about this channel. Eventually, these videos that are live going into this technical training like this will be available to either Patreon supporters or members of the company or the academy. If you join the academy, so superuseracademy.com. And we do, if you have questions, though, instead of putting them in, you can put them in comments because that tells Google good things. But I will put a link on the description for Super User Academy /live QA call. Eventually, there'll be a link to that on the main website, but there isn't one right now. Let's look at the notes for multi-factor authentication. Because let's see, what are we working on now? So I think for this, I'm going to X these out. I'm going to copy them. Yeah, those are the three things we're reviewing right now. Let's see if we got any. We might get to objects and applications. I don't think I'm going to have the steam for it, but I might. So multi-factor authentication, right? So it's using the Authenticator app is what Salesforce wants you to do. Why? Because it adds a level of security to your org. What's the problem with that? There's several problems with it. And Salesforce has a lot of resources on MFA. Basically, once you enable it, you're Salesforcing your users to have their phone with them to authenticate so they can log in. But understanding the difference between MFA and two-factor, and multi-factor both do the same thing. They protect your org from people who just know the username and password, right? The difference between them is that the number of factors needed to log in Multi-factor uses 2 or more factors. That means beyond the username and password, beyond the verification or the trusted IP, you still have another factor for multi-factor. Otherwise, 2-factor is just how it's always been, which is something you have, something you know, which is you know your username and password, you have an activated browser, or you have a trusted IP that you're coming in on, right? Quick quiz. Even if you're coming in on a trusted IP, if you have login hour restrictions, would you still be able to log in? The answer is no. Why? Because that's controlled by your profile. Anyway, two-factor authentication is a subset of multi-factors that requires 2 factors only. So it's a little confusing. The way I like to think of it is 2-factor is the activation in your browser. You get a text, you got to verify. Multi-factor is that plus the authenticator. It was supposed to be effective this year, but it's not. What it's saying now is that you're taking the risk knowingly if you don't enable it. And the problems with it are for consultants that work for multiple clients or that have, for specifically partners, if I've got a client and I've got a login called your company name at salesandtechnology.com, right? I create an email address and I've got 10 different consultants that may use that username and email to log in to that customer's account. Only one of those, my 10 users, are going to have a cell phone that's going to host the multi-factor and approve it. And that's problematic. You can't, there's no shared other factor. So the Authenticator app is the challenge. There's no other, as of the time that I last looked at it. Let's see. So it's part of security, right? Let's see. So if you don't do it, you're out of compliance with your contractual requirements. It's like saying, ripping the tag off your bed. They say, don't rip your tag off the bed. Everybody rips it off the bed when you get home because it's only for shipping, I guess. But check these out. I don't know when we go through the practice test. I've got a focus on force practice test, and Salesforce Ben has a practice test for the advanced admin. So here's the requirements. Which users log in and environments require MFA? So internal users, yes, require MFA. External users, no. Chatter and chatter free, no. Chatter only, yes, or chatter plus users, yes. Direct human logins to the user interface, yes, that's when you go to, right? So that means things like data loader, mobile apps, client apps, automated testing, and RPA. I don't know what that is. Account logins, no. System integration via the API, no. Device activation and identity verification, yes. Delegated authentication, I have no idea what that is. SSO, yes. Risk-based continuous authentication, depends. Trusted corporate devices, depends. Trusted networks, depends. User certificates, depends. MFA requirements for types of orgs and tenants. Production, environments, yes. Experience clouds, e-commerce, help portals, employee communities, no. Sandbox environments. See the notes. You have to see the note. I don't think it was. I don't think it is in a sandbox, but it might. Maybe a, developer edition. It does not apply to those. Let's see. Trailhead Playgrounds, no. Trials. 45th day makes it required. Let's just see what this doc says. Huh. Hold on a second. Well, isn't that something? Is it required for sandbox environments? To be back to the same. Depends on the Salesforce product. Sandbox is a temporary security FFA requirement. You can still use it for B2C and marketing cloud intelligence. It is required. Marketing cloud engagement and a formal sandbox, even if you have tenants or blah, 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 you said it's required for these orgs. Okay, great. All right. So instead of taking me to the spot, it took me to something else. So that goes and answers all the questions in more detail. If you need more detail, read it and then get back to me, right? So I'm closing that one down. So now my last one is configure enterprise territory management. Now this ought to be good. I would think, let's see if in the sales link, right? Because that completes security. But let's look at, see if there's territory. So there will be some modules to complete for territory management. So territory management basics, we will get to that in cloud applications. There'll be 2 modules there. And advanced territory management, which I have not completed. Yeah. So that'll be one I get to do on the trail, but if you've already done it, great. We're going to get to that later on. Right now, we're just going to look at the requirements. So territory management's only available in enterprise, developer, performance, and unlimited editions with Sales Cloud. The user needs manage users to assign user permissions and customize app to create, edit, delete page layouts. So a couple considerations, things to consider when implementing enterprise territory management to make sure that the right users can access the right territory model elements. One of the things we discussed earlier in the videos, and it may not be the video that was broadcast live, so I'll say it again, is that it's really recommended that you have a very clear understanding of your territory model, and that model doesn't change much. I've been in companies that model changes every couple of years. Somebody, and you're at risk with a new VP of sales, because what this is doing, this is like an overlay. If you think about the role hierarchy for record access, and this takes that to another level of assignment, another set of rules to configure access to accounts, and then you decide the access to the records that you don't own, but like the contacts, cases, and opportunities when you're in a private model. So it impacts not only record access, but reporting as well. So this has that little piece of the puzzle as well. Oh, Jenny showed up. And I can call you Jen because Chen's not here. So we're on the last little bit right now, Jenny, of we just got started with territory management, what it is to configure. And for the record, just so you know, there are 2 modules that are handled later on for territory basics. And I was just repeating when you logged in that on our earlier call last week that we didn't broadcast live, we said that you ought to have a robust territory management already in place in your company before you try to configure this in Salesforce, right? You don't want to, this is like taking on CPQ and you don't even know what SKUs you have in your product, and you haven't really done it right. It's too damn advanced to start out with. So even with automation, we talk about do it on paper first. That is, have a good, solid cultural process for, like what are your business, what that means is your business rules are clear and understood with all of the people in your company. And then you find a way to map that to data before you implement anything else. So, you've created the custom fields, you manually, you email, you walk over to somebody, you say, hey, I need you to approve this record over here. All of that stuff before you put in anything automated, right? So make sure that the data is captured in the system, and make sure that people understand that that's just part of what they do. And it takes some time and it's not efficient, but it is effective. It does work. You want to have an effective system long before you try to have an efficient system. And once you have an effective system that is efficient, then you want to consider any type of automation or enterprise grade type of tools or systems, because you'll screw yourself if you don't.
And you do it in cones. You do little by little. You don't just.
That's right. And
it's fine tuning.
I will give you the idea behind it. I'll draw it out if it'll work. We'll see. What I say is, you've got, when it comes to any type of automation, you've got point A, which is the beginning, and you got point Z, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just want to automate first that you're collecting all of A and that you can identify all of Z, right? So think about the standard lead record. A lead is like a business card, and I dare you to challenge me on anything else that it is. You got a little bit of company information, you got a little bit of personal information. I don't care that you met them at a networking meeting, you don't know a lot about them. Put them in as a lead until you've captured the data that your company says, these data points that I've entered in the system qualify that person to do business with. So there are things that are not on the business card that you see, but rather, that the phone rings, that the address is good, that the person may or may not work there, but the company's still viable or something, right? And then once you've identified them as a real company, potentially there's real people there, you know how to get in touch with them. They're willing to have a conversation with you. You've done some preliminary qualification. That's Z. That is, they're qualified. Now you can convert. So what happens? Well, now it might be an opportunity. You just know they're now qualified to do business with. An opportunity record would indicate I've opened up a conversation to make a sale. You might only talk to, let's say, for example, I was selling something to Jenny. She has, for lack of a better, let's say I meet Jenny at the beach. I go to Florida, I meet Jenny at the beach. Her and her husband and I start drinking beer and say, oh, you do Salesforce, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Oh, you guys, give me your card. Jenny gives me her card. She's a lead in my system. And I go, Jenny, I call her on the phone. You got Salesforce, you got this, you got more than one user. But Jenny's got no buying authority, no influence. Let's just say she got no influence whatsoever. She just works there, right? I made contact. Hey, Jenny, do you think there's somebody at your company I could talk to about maybe training their Salesforce users? She'll go, yeah, I'll introduce you to Donnie. Great. Now I can convert Jenny, because now I know there is a person that I can identify that might lead me on the trail, but I can now start capturing information about that company that I know they qualify for me to, I wouldn't train them if they had HubSpot, let's say, but I will train them if they have Salesforce. But Jenny's not going to engage in the conversation to make a sale with me.
Yeah.
So I'll convert it, and then I'll add Donnie as a contact. Then I'll pursue Donnie as a prospective contact to see if Donnie will open up a conversation with me for an opportunity. It's still qualifying, but I know the company and the ecosystem, if you will,
Might have a decision maker.
Yeah.
I know a
Now
lot of places require a decision maker. They require a budget and they require a contact, a phone
and
number.
they have a process. Exactly. So
right.
So that's A to Z. So the lead went from unknown to qualified, and I converted. Now, is there things I could automate along the way? Absolutely. What would I automate first? The next biggest thing, like the first step in my qualification process is that I set up a meeting, phone call or personal, with the suspect, I call them, right? And let's just call that step right there is the first big milestone, right? In the process, we'll call it step O. It's the first big milestone in the process that to get from here, I might add some automation that says, now that that's happened, I might add some automation to notify somebody, do something else to take it from O to the very next step between O and R in the A to Z world. So I'll pick those two milestones, right? So that's what Jenny meant by little. You got all your stuff, to identify it as a beginning. You got all your stuff to notify that's at the end. Everything else you're doing manually. Once you identify certain critical parts, like, oh, when they get to this, I can automatically change the stage to that, right? That little, like, I'm automatically going from working to contacted, or I went from, new to contacted, and now contacted to working, right? It might move a stage. So you give the user a little benefit, because you know that when I collect this data from doing it manually 100 times or 100 or 1,000 times, I know that's a reliable criteria, and I can then create automation, because automation is based on data that triggers an action, and it only triggers an action when the criteria is met, right? So you must be this high, must be this tall to ride the ride. The automation is, if you walk up to the ride and you're this tall, a big wand comes out and throws you out of the line. That's automated. We know, because you don't meet the criteria. If the size is blank, whoop, get them out. So true triggers action. So as you collect data, you figure out when your data is reliable. Once your data is reliable, now you can take automated steps, as opposed to assuming humans are going to play by the rules you set up. When you assume that, you're going to make an ass out of you and me, but remember, you're going to make an ass out of you first.
Yeah.
So that's the steps. You never heard that before, right? So that's what you do in automation. You don't automate anything until the business owns the rules. Then the data captures the rule, reflects the rules being captured. So you can pull reports or list views and sort out, based on your rules, where every record sits. That's what list views are great for, because they can sort out where records fit, because you don't have the data collected. And then you can start automating once you've got reliable data capture and everybody's used to it. Then you can make some really clear decisions. So anyway, that's a lot of talking, and I didn't even get past the headline. All right. So
right.
That's the big consideration for all automation. So make sure you understand how the permissions affect territory model. And remember, the territory model is like another level of the role hierarchy. So you're taking, remember how the role hierarchy works, right? Everybody in a role in a private model, we know that they inherit the subordinate owner's records as an owner, like a parent owns a child's stuff. But remember, what we also decide in every role in role hierarchy is, if the user in that role owns an account record, what do we do to override the OWD to give access to the contact, opportunity, and case in when the owner of the account does not own those subordinate child records, right? You decide, do you keep the OWD the same, or do you grant a higher level of access? Territories do fundamentally the same thing, but it's not based on the account owner, but rather the account criteria and how you assign that criteria to your users. So it creates another, like, think of queues, like an overlay to the owner of an account, but rather the person who's in the territory of that account, right? That's an oversimple. Would you say that's a?
So the territory is like a queue, and
it's like a
the
queue.
people who own that are the members.
Exactly. So you can have multiple people acting like the owner because we can't assign accounts to a queue, right? So
Right.
And I don't know why we assigned tasks to a queue, and I don't know why in God's name,
Never
or
done
anybody's
it, but
name, but
hypothetically.
opportunities hypothetically can be assigned to a queue. I don't know how to do it, and I'll tell you right
I've
now.
never seen it.
I hope you never learn. I hope nobody ever learns how to use that stupid feature. Hashtag, why did anybody do that? Who's responsible for a conversation but the owner of an opportunity? That
Right.
person is responsible. If you're not using opportunities that way, please reach out to me and let me beat you over the head with a stick so you can find out how to use opportunities correctly. Because
Like
I've seen
an opportunity team, you mean? Sorry.
Yeah, right. If you can't figure out how to use Teams, then let's please get you on something like Excel spreadsheets, because you don't need automation and any kind of technology. And it must be Florida, Jenny, because I had a couple that took ownership. I had a guy. This is the epitome of, like, I have a yin yang approach to this. This couple did $5.5 million out of $6 million in sales for the company. And they were the only ones using Salesforce. So they cobbled it up. And then I talked to my buddy and he said, well, I want to expand sales. Can you take a look at Salesforce? And I looked at it and I go, what the hell is going on? And I finally get him on the phone. I go, tell me what are you doing? Well, they renamed opportunities. They had 7 different dates they added as custom fields. And they didn't use the close date. They're like, I don't understand the close date. Close date doesn't matter. Close date matters. Every month, they recreate reports with the exact month dates in it. All these things, rookie mistakes. And God bless them. Whenever I come across that, by default, I'm like, hey, they did the best they can with their level of understanding.
They tried.
They tried. And then they crossed me because I educated them and they resisted. And I said, oh, really? Well, guess what? I'm the system admin and I changed it anyway on them. You know why? Because it's called Salesforce, not Sales Ask. And stupidity, it was horrible. It was that's why I came up with that term.
Sometimes when you override somebody, after you override them, you show them how much time you just saved them.
They get mad.
Like dates and close dates, and using the close date, migrating that date over, and then suddenly, like, you can say, look at this, look at the history I can show you. I bet you couldn't do that.
Let me tell you something. I did that. She just got more mad at me.
And
it wasn't. Yeah. And here's the deal. They just had my buddy by the cajones, right? And sometimes people do hijack sales, and they hijack companies when they're in charge.
Yeah.
And if you've got somebody holding your Salesforce hostage because they do the majority of sales, I feel sorry for you, but let me know. I know how to eliminate that pest. All right, so let's go. So make sure they have the user permissions assigned as needed, whatever that is. I don't know what they are, because we got to go through the class on it, right? We'll go through the trails later. Add the assigned territories related list to your account page layouts. That makes sense, right? To do that. They let Salesforce admins manually assign territories to accounts, and it lets users identify which territories are assigned to their accounts. Make sure this includes the standard and custom fields, if any, that admins and users need. Okay.
All right, this is like 101 stuff.
Yeah, but I've never
Set it up
actually.
correctly before you,
Yeah, right.
you have to have the layouts.
But please look, do yourself a favor and just before you go do this. This is a great help document to do that, right?
Check,
Add
check,
the
check.
users. Yep, the assigned territory related list, and you should do all this in a sandbox. So add the users in assigned territories related list to account pages. Add territory field to your opportunity page layouts. Add the territory field. Okay, of course, that lets administrators and sales managers manually assign a territory to an opportunity from a list of the territories assigned to the opportunities accounts. Great. Add the territory name and territory description fields to the opportunity list views and reports that users can identify. Yes, this is all usability 101 stuff. Add any custom button, links, or actions. That's good. Let's see.
But not really to do with territory setup. But
what's that?
I'm like, it's saying like you have to have Salesforce set up correctly to set up your territories, but assigned territories, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, what they're saying is you can't, when you have territories, and I've worked in lots of sales companies with
Can't skip a
territories,
step.
but you've got to let your users and you've got to have the flex of things happen you're in a big sales organization. When you have territories, that means you're running across at least 2 or 3 states, or you've got multiple people that you're separating the world of sales that your company impacts. Specifically, you've got to share that information to your users at every level of the organization. Otherwise, and I'll say it like this, you're just an asshole, because how are they going to make decisions when they look at the record? It's going to render Salesforce useless and territory management useless if you don't share and collaborate. You're going to get you people in gotchas without that information. So you got to think about it from what the user needs when they look at the screen, right? So there's also, let's see what some other fun things. There's a lot of other things. I'm going to add this as little notes to this notes document that might be useful. But let's see if we can do that bullet point thing. And that didn't work. So let's see if that works. So these are just some, like, if some of this stuff is like foreign to you completely, then definitely spend a little time. But you know what will give you the most benefit is when we go into the trails to do territory management. But this is under security and access. So, right, this is where this chunk lives in the test, is under security and access. So the things that are important about configuring territory is what it's asking about, because this gives users access to records that they wouldn't normally have think of it in a private model. Always think private model, right? Private model, if you're assigning not just accountability and responsibility like you do with team members, but also you're assigning access. So that's why it falls under here. So you need to know some of the things that are important for it. It's run by rules. So you configure rules in this. So you have a hierarchy for the territory model. You have a tree view. So it looks a lot like role hierarchy, but then you have rules that run in it as well. You can run rules for all accounts, a subset of accounts. That's probably going to be like something that they're going to talk about, because that's about how it works, how it is applied, whether you do it, so you're going to know, right? If I have territories that can be on all accounts, well, let's think about it. What if you have account record types, or what if you just have in the type field that you designate accounts as prospects, customers, inactive because of whatever rules you have, vendors, partners, and competitors. The 6 type of customers you should have in every database. right? Because that's what they are. You only have prospect accounts, accounts you haven't done business with yet, accounts you're currently doing business with or within some time frame. You call them active customers. And then you have customers that haven't done business with you in a while that you should throw back into marketing's hands and your SDRs and try to generate some business. They're inactive. So those are all customer type accounts. Well, what about vendors? People that you use to service your account? What about partners that you use to work with accounts? And what about competitors, right? And then you have your internal account, potentially, right? Or your candidate account, if you're doing recruiting, right? All those, but the 6 basic, every company should have 6 basic account type, not record types necessarily, but types of accounts that you should be relating to. Because, yeah, think of them as glasses in your kitchen, right? You got water glasses, wine glasses, beer glasses, champagne glasses, plastic cups for your redneck neighbors. You don't want to use any of your real glasses, or your pool wear, right? In Mardi Gras cups, like, you got all different kinds of cups, glasses, and things. So there's a type field, it's a standard field on every account. You should have those 6. Would you agree with that, Jenny, that those are the 6 fundamental accounts that every business should have? You can have more
variation. Yep.
You can have a few more, but you shouldn't have less than that. And I'm going to put that out there, that you should put that in there. All right. So a subset of accounts. Let's see, find out which territories an assignment rule applies to. Oh, okay, good. So that's going to be in your territory model. It's going to be based on the rules. And then each rule is going to apply to the assigned territories related list. That's good to know, because again, that's how you create the access. Let's see, view and manage assignment rules at the territory model level. When we get to the trail, we'll be able to do all these things. We're just talking about it as it relates to security, right? So I'm looking at assignment rules in the US, and these are assignment rules. So remember, if you were ever in one of my admin classes, I always said there's only 2 assignment rules: leads and cases. Well, now there's territory assignment rules, because you're an advanced admin. So look, I got Northern California and Southern California rules. The rule probably, I'm guessing, could have many rules, but only one can be active as it relates to or in your territory model. You create a rule, open a rule, or hover the rule name to view its criteria. So the rule criteria for Southern is billing city equals Los Angeles, California. Okay, great. Let's see, activating assignment rules, view and manage assignment rules, and applying them to descendant territories. Let's see, the ability to apply an assignment rule to a descendant territory is available at the territory level only. You can't apply assignment rules to descendants at the territory model level. The only option you get is to apply a rule to descendant territories if you access the rules record from an individual territory. Now that's pretty deep in the bowels of territory rules.
What do they mean by descendant territory? Can you clarify that?
Nope, I cannot. We could try.
Is it like, I think it seems like it would be a hierarchy, but I'm not entirely sure if I'm understanding it.
I think it is. So I think so if you're the East Coast sales director and the West Coast sales director, right? So separated by the Mississippi River, that might be the overarching rule that all of these apply to them and all of those. So the descendant sounds like, well, who's got the Southeast, the Southwest, the Northeast, the Central, East Central, West Central, North Central, whatever that is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just guessing.
I think it is. I think it's part of the territory models.
It is. Let's look and see an example.
Right.
All right. So you have a territory model called US, and its hierarchy has 2 territories, Eastern and Western. Eastern has a signed rule called Eastern States. If you open the record, the territory model US, then click View Rules, and from there click Edit on the Eastern States rule. We look back at that other graphic we just saw in the last page. We just saw that. If you start from the Eastern States territory record, then edit next to the Eastern Territory rule record. So yeah, it's just, I guess, how.
Yeah.
But I don't think that let's see. So with this help document did, I'm going back to the original help document link, was configure permissions and access. So that document, so really, let's see if it'll pull up. It's just taking forever. Oh. What is wrong with my interwebs? And I'm cruising at 200 megabytes a second too, by the way. Like I got fast internet. Oh, but you know what it is? I got this stupid OneDrive in the background. What else is in the background? Messing me up.
Resources.
Yeah. Oh, go away, Teams. My account finally, at the company you work for, Jenny, my access finally went away for Teams and everything.
That was me.
And what a pain. Well, no, but all my Microsoft account is now deactivated finally. What a pain it is to get
unwind it,
to get it off my personal laptop.
Yeah,
so really,
that's why I don't ever mix it.
Actually, all those things I just went through, all you got to really look at is these 6. It looks like I went somehow further down the rabbit hole. I went further down than the one help document. So y'all got a bonus. We looked at it, but I think it's good. It's good prep. It's not going to hurt you any. So, oh, somebody's on the live chat. Hey, Raul.
Yay.
Look at that.
It works.
Wow, I didn't even know. Hey, Raul's watching. Give us a like. While 2 people are watching. Look at that. That's my first experience of having live people publicly just show up.
We're all studying.
So, and let's see. Why am I not subscribed to my own channel? What is wrong with me? Make sure you subscribe, Raul, and everybody else. So Raul probably is subscribed already. I think he is.
What channel is this, Dominic?
My sales and technology consultants channel.
Okay.
Here, I'll put it in the chat so you can go to the live if you want to see it. But if you go to sales and technology consultants on YouTube, you can subscribe, like, and share all you want. So anyway, so that completes the security and access model. And may I take a chance to ask, how do I give access to my user to merge duplicate leads? Through permission sets? You could do it through a permission. So they need to have, in order to merge duplicate leads, they've got to have the ability to delete leads.
That's the hairy part.
That's the main thing, Ro. So
you better trust them.
It's either it is a permission through, I'm doing it, the profile or a permission sets. So either way works. So it's a permission, and I think if you just look, I haven't looked at a help document lately on it, but let's go look. So if I want to give a user the ability, well, let's just do what everybody does after they're certified, which is merge leads, merge duplicate leads. So org-wide and lead settings. No. Where's leads? I don't think lead settings. I don't think lead setting. I don't know if there is a such thing as lead setting. So go test those words. So listen, I don't care if you're English as your first language or not. The words on the screen in Salesforce are what you want to get accustomed to always, always, everywhere. Because when you use other words from your head, that's swamp. We gotta, what did they say? Drain the swamp? Yeah. So merge duplicate leads in Lightning. Yeah, no problem, Ro. That's why we do live. And that's why we ask you to subscribe and hit the bell. And because I'm going to do this live. And then again, this is all going into, it's all going to get hidden after a while. So use it while you can. So here's what it says in every help document, right? So merge duplicate leads. Of course, I hope you're using Lightning. But so they need to be able to view the lead and delete. And then in order to merge. So now, let's see what else is needed. Compare. Let's see if there's confirm, retain. Yeah, that's it. So read and delete, obviously, right? Because to merge, you got to get rid of one and then the other. And I don't know if there are anything I don't know if there's anything real called lead settings. Because I want like let's look at lead settings and see what I know there is lead settings, but again, test everything. So here's the lead settings. You have a default lead owner. You have what other things do you choose? Lead conversion settings, preserve lead status. That's interesting. Enable conversions for Salesforce Mobile. Hell yeah, you want to let them do that. Let's look at those settings. Hide opportunity section of convert lead window. No. Select don't create opportunity by default. Now, here's what I will tell you. If you don't check this button, classic lead settings. I don't think it's that different, but maybe. Let's look at that. We'll look at that. I don't. Why are you in classic, Raul? So
let's pick on Raul.
Yeah, right. I'm not gonna pick on your brother. Thank you for being here. I normally select don't create an opportunity by default, and I'll tell you why. Because in Denmark, they did a study, and this is a marketing study. That this is a lesson every marketer knows. And if you don't know this as an admin, you better learn it. That in Denmark, they wanted people to be organ donors when they die. So they asked people when they renewed their license online to check a box to become an organ donor. And only 4% of the people checked the box. So they said, that's not enough organs from dead people. We need more organs. So they flipped it the next year and they said, uncheck the box if you don't want to be an organ donor. And 96% of the people were now organ donors. You know why? Because humans are lazy and they typically go with the default settings. So if your default is don't create an opportunity by default, then they have to knowingly deselect it to create an opportunity. And they will do that if and it really depends on your sales conversion process. If it does lead to it really depends, right? But if you're 50-50, go with not putting it so you don't get a bunch of junk opportunities. The same way with automatically creating a task on a lead conversion, you're going to end up with a bunch of junky tasks in your org. So don't create something you think is going to help a user when they don't have the habit or the intention to keep that data clean, unless you have some way to manage the data integrity down the road. If you're not managing it, don't automatically create it. Otherwise, you're just adding junk to your database. And that's all I got to say about it. Let's see. Oh, org-wide merge and delete. Oh, look at you. You were reading the screen. Look at Raul. Solid, buddy. You could join my team. Org-wide merge and delete. What does the help say? When your org-wide sharing default for leads is set to public read-write transfer, this setting also lets all users merge and delete leads. All right. So
like manage all data for leads.
it is, but you've got to have public read-write transfer on leads. So
Yeah, and that kind of, yeah.
What happens if you don't have public read-write? Then your security model is going to take over, and just those users with access to leads are going to see the duplicate. So if they don't, what they're saying is, if you want people to merge duplicate leads and you make it private, then you better have good role hierarchy and good sharing rules that allow people to actually see the duplicate. Because if they
At that
can't
point,
see
then they have to have manage all data in order to make
that
it
right.
private.
That
You're
was-
going to have to give them manage all data in order to do that.
And that role could be a permission set for that as well, because if you've got a private org, remember, let's just say it's private, and you gave them delete, and you have duplicate rules set up. If they can't see the duplicate record as their logged in user, Salesforce won't show them that there is a duplicate record. In a public model, it will, but in a private model, it won't unless you've given a rule for it. So that's good. That's good sales mojo right there. And I haven't looked at that in a while. So thanks for the question, Raul. Look at this. The community is working. I'm starting to have faith in the interwebs now. I didn't have it before you, Raul. You put a table leg under my belief system that this might actually work to drive value through the YouTube channel for me. So thank you for that, Raul. Give me a thumbs up and all that kind of stuff. What does clip do on my channel? Clip. Oh, what is that? What does clip do? Add a description. Raul's awesome. I'm going to do, and then I'm going to do that clip. I'm going to go back a little, forward a little. Oh, it's a 1 minute clip. Oh, like a YouTube. Oh, nice. Then I could share the clip. Like I'm just doing other stuff right now. Oh, that's where all that annoying shit comes from. Oh, great. You know why I don't do that? Because I don't do that. I don't have friends. I'm going to share it with you, Jenny, and I'm going to share it with you, Ro. Did I create the clip? Nope, didn't copy. Hey, man, thank you. All right. So listen, that's it for the security model in this live session. We'll pick up next week, and I might do some more on my own next week. I don't know, Jenny. I might create some other recordings just to get ahead, because I want to get through this material before August 22nd. I think it's going to take a minute. So here's your assignment. And Raul, if you want access to this, send me your email. I'm going to give you a way to do that. You might already be subscribed. If you are, register there. So I have your email, and then send me an email that says you want access to this document, Raul, and I'll give you access to our notes as we go along. So for next week, what we're going to cover, and here's your assignment for next week, is now objects and applications. Another probably 12 questions on the test. Considerations, we're going to go through all of these.
It's a good one.
Custom objects, quick look. Woo! Lightning experience rollout. That's good overview. Lightning experience features. And then, so that's not too bad. We could probably get that done next week. So that's the assignment. I put that in this little notes section here. And notes next. That'll be July what is that? The 20th. Next week.
Yep.
But and Jen, like Jenny, for you, like what you told me, and so like I want to acknowledge you for your support. Like doing it like this is a value to you. And
Absolutely.
hopefully it's a value to Raul and anybody else that decides to join. But I don't want to take it for granted that I knew that was the case.
Nope. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I love doing it when I'm driven by appreciation and recognition. Tell my wife. And so I'm driven by that. And when I'm working with a company that doesn't provide me that, guess what? I don't do as much for them as I would if they would just do that. Tell my old boss.
I think everybody feels that way.
It's not true. No. Some people are not.
That's true.
No.
Everyone should feel that way.
No. So remember the Harrison assessment you haven't taken yet, Jenny? So that one would tell you exactly what drives you if you finish taking it to see where you fit in the world of this. So let's see. So we're going to do these next. We're going to do these guys next. So that'll be in the document. Raul, if you want access to this document, you can have it. So
I think I requested access to that document for another account that I was unable to.
I think I gave it to you.
Did you? Okay, I haven't clicked it recently.
I think it's your Yahoo account. Your Yahoo account you wanted it for, right?
No, it was my Gmail. My Yahoo has it. I need my Gmail accessed.
Got it.
Because when I open it, it's trying to open it with my Gmail for some reason. It's a Google Doc. So
because Google is like Salesforce. They think they want you to use any software as long as it's theirs.
Exactly.
They don't care what software you use as long as it's theirs.
As long as it's theirs.
So unable to create some image. Oh, whatever, dude. All right. So that's what we're going to do next Wednesday. And then I think we could get through all of this next Wednesday. If you complete the trailhead on your own, we could get through this section. And then here's what I'll do next Thursday. I've been editing the PowerPoint to make it more visually appealing and less incriminating for me. I've been personalizing it. So if Thursday I may do a presentation, or we'll finish up this. So next week, the 20th and the 21st, we'll do both of these. And CPQ admin or marketing. Oh, interesting, Raul. Great. That's good. Let me know that in the question for the live Q&A call. It's an ugly landing page. Not Marketing Cloud, but it's what I can afford. I can't afford Marketing Cloud. And good for you with CPQ admin, because I am not. Maybe, I mean, I'm hoping this channel generates some. I don't have a mechanism just yet for that, but my vision is to create an army of elite professionals that serve the Salesforce ecosystem. And a lot of those will be part-timers that help me serve the small to mid-sized market as I get out to small to mid-sized businesses. So, but what I've experienced is my students are so good at doing their day job as admins that they've got at least an hour a week to 2 or 3 hours a day. Instead of enabling people at their organization, they help other people, or to spend an hour or two a day doing part-time work and make extra money. So I'm looking for that, but I don't have any active clients right now, but believe me, by October, we should have some. So stay in the loop, Raul, because showing up is how everybody gets work with me. Because if you show up, I get to know you, and that's how it works. So I have no other standards or criteria. Like if you just like me, that's pretty much what it does. So, but I do have leads, Raul. Let's talk about that. You can, if you go to superuseracademy.com, you can schedule an appointment with me. We can chat about it one-on-one. So superuseracademy.com is just every action you can take is schedule an appointment with me. And if you go to that /live QA call, you can ask a question, or just that'll connect us together. So Anyway, any other questions, comments, concerns? I guess it was valuable for both of y'all.
Very good.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, Raul, for being there. You restored my faith in the internet. So next week, and I'll add you to the calendar invite, so you'll have the Zoom link if you want to join us on Zoom, or you can watch it on Being Honest. About what? I'm always, by the way, that might be my thing. I'm always honest. I'll tell you the damn truth, whether it helps me or not. Like I don't, although I did do, by the way, Jen, my last project that I was on that you knew about, the one, I'm not going to mention the name of that company. One thing I did differently that you don't know about me, I kept my mouth shut a lot. There was a lot that I would normally have gotten into and jumped up and down and yelled stupid all the time and probably pissed off a lot of people. But I have transformed in my ability to just let stupid happen and wait for people to come for me for help. And just be of service. I took a approach of being of service and not being of stupid, and not trying to fight stupid, because I fight stupid all the time and it wore me out normally.
Right.
So anyway, so thank you, Raul. I appreciate it. And y'all have a great night. Thank you for being here. Jenny, thank you for being here too. I actually started late, so I got to tell myself I started late because
that's all right. I got here late.
I took a nap and my Alexa alarm didn't wake me up. I was so mad at Alexa. She's like, she's supposed to do alarm. She didn't do it. So anyway,
now I'm going to work on this territory assignment, and I have a little catch up to do. So
awesome. Thank you guys for being here, and I'll see you guys next week. And again, any questions you have in the meantime, I need to create more and more relevant, intentional content for my YouTube channel, because I'm trying to get 350 more. I was at 450. I need 350 more to see if I might make $12 a month now. So good times. So have a good night too, Raul, wherever you are in the